Right, if your 2025 resolution is to play more great new games, then you should definitely pick up an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription. I mean, just look at all of the cool titles that are set to arrive day one.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you, Bex, but this video is brought to you by Fortnite Ballistic.
So fans of the Sniper Elite series probably already have this one in their crosshairs. The new entry, Resistance, arrives on January 30th. Telling a new story that runs parallel with the plot of Sniper Elite 5, this World War II adventure involves a daring special ops agent and a secret Nazi plan that could turn the tide of the war. But not if you hit your targets. The X-ray kill cam and realistic gun physics make this into one of the most satisfying shooters around, while the stealth-based gameplay is sure to get your heart rate up, which is actually not ideal given your chosen profession in-game. Lovers of fantasy and first-person action should definitely plan on digging into Avowed when that arrives on February 18th. Obsidian's new game sees them returning to Eora, the world from the Pillars of Eternity games, which has been overrun by a strange sickness. You'll be investigating the source of this magical malady, calling on a whole range of lively characters to act as your companions. Fans of the Outer World will be pleased to find that these guys are every bit as chatty and every bit as funny as that crowd were. When the talking stops, the fighting starts, and Avowed makes combat an absolute blast, letting you dual-wield weapons and switch between loadouts on the fly. So you can be casting fire spells on one moment and bonking enemies on the head the next. I got to give it a try when we previewed the game and can confirm it's every bit of fun as it sounds. I mean, don't listen to me. Listen to past me. Watch that video and see for yourself. Being in Britain isn't always easy, what with the weather and the constant furious debates about the correct way to make a cup of tea. But Atomfall imagines a history where it gets a whole lot harder. This first-person RPG takes place in an alternate version of the 60s, where northern England has been turned into a radioactive quarantine zone. To survive here, you'll have to craft, barter, and fight for your life. And the game can go quite differently based on the choices you make. It looks so good, I can't wait for it to arrive on March 27th, and for the record, it's teabag, then water, then milk. Painted by numbers is usually a relaxing, wholesome activity, but not in Clear Obscure Expedition 33, oh no. In this epic JRPG, an evil witch is painting numbers that cause everyone that age to come down with a nasty case of deadness. So, it's up to our group of hopeful expeditioners to stop her. Lies of P fans will love the Belle Epoque-inspired fantasy world, which was made with Unreal Engine 5 and looks absolutely stunning. While the combat has a really clever way of incorporating real-time action into the turn-based battles. Now, if I still haven't sold it to you, Ben stars in it. Clear Obscure Expedition 33 might just have something for everyone, and it's coming straight to Game Pass next spring. Well, De La Soul were so close, but actually slightly wrong in that 33 is the magic number, because 33 Immortals is also on the way to Game Pass. Tough break, guys. From the studio behind Spiritfarer, 33 Immortals is a whole lot less mellow, although it does feature some similarly stylized and equally gorgeous visuals. This co-op roguelike lets 33 players hack and slash their way through hordes of enemies together, but don't worry about being just another face in the crowd. You can customize your character with all sorts of cosmetics, while the different classes and weapons available mean that everyone gets to find their own playstyle. The tabletop-inspired RPG Citizen Sleeper provided us with one of the richest sci-fi worlds we've ever explored back in 2022. We'll be heading back for more in 2025, heck yeah. Citizen Sleeper 2 Starboard Vector once again has you playing as a human consciousness trapped inside an artificial body and pursued by the corporation that built them. But what happens from there comes down entirely to the choices that you make and how your dice rolls shake out. What sort of person you are, who you befriend, where you travel, and what secrets you uncover. There's a whole new galaxy of possibilities just waiting to be explored. In the extreme sports game Descenders next, you'll never be bored because you'll be too busy boarding, huh? Unlike the first Descenders game, which focused on biking, this one is all about snowboards and mountain boards. But like the first Descenders game, it's all about going down the hill really, really fast. There are loads of ways to play and loads of events to compete in, whether you fancy getting involved in the multiplayer scene or just going it solo. And if you want to get some extreme sporting action in before Descenders next arrives, Riders Republic is available now for all Game Pass members. If you love the Doom games but long for a simpler time when slaying demons and waging a one-man war on hell didn't involve so many high-tech gizmos, then Doom Guy's next adventure might just be the one for you. Doom the Dark Ages is a prequel to the 2016 Doom, giving players the chance to get medieval on their enemies. The whole thing looks like a heavy metal album cover come to life, and the weapons we've seen so far are so unbelievably cool. I literally physically can't wait. I know we've mentioned the skull grinding gun a lot before, but come on, it shoots skulls! Eternal Strands is a third-person action adventure that lets you blend powerful weapons with some seriously nifty magical abilities. And you'll need them all, since the enemies in this game look very big and very mean. Taking them down should be a blast though, thanks to how creative Eternal Strands combat looks. Your magic lets you fling objects around, freeze water, and set things on fire, with reactive environments and real-time destruction that can totally change the battlefield. So there's almost an endless amount of different ways to approach each fight. The new Fable might still be largely wrapped in mystery, but that doesn't make us any less excited for it. In fact, I might actually be more psyched because of the mysteriousness of it all. What we do know is that the new game has been developed by Forza Horizon devs Playground Games. And most importantly, we know that the series has once again recruited some very funny British people for its voice cast, including Richard Ayoade. And since we don't know much more than that, what would you like to see most in the new Fable? Hit the comments with all of your ideas. Remedy has another game set in the Control universe in the works called FBC Firebreak. This co-op FPS takes players into the headquarters of the Federal Bureau of Control, although that name is a bit misleading really, given the situation there seems to be absolutely chaotic. With paranormal entities pouring out of every spooky nook and cranny, it's up to you and your team to restore order by any means necessary. The agency's budget must be pretty decent though, because you'll have a whole range of weapons, specialized tools, and even a few supernatural gadgets to make use of, allowing you to tailor your loadout to the mission and your teammates. PC Game Pass players are already enjoying the Sub-Zero city building of Frostpunk 2, but console gamers won't be left out in the cold for much longer. The console edition of the game is set to arrive in 2025, and just like the first time around, the whole thing is being cleverly rebuilt to run as well with a gamepad as it does with a mouse and keyboard. That means you'll be in complete control as you try to appease the different factions of your population while expanding the city, setting up new outposts, and ideally not allowing the generator to go off so that everyone freezes to death. Ideally. You might not have heard from the soulful cycling game Ghost Bike in a while, but don't worry, it's not ghosting you. It's just called Wheel World now. Set to an energetic original soundtrack, this stylish little number has you riding around its open world on a quest to save the spirits. To do that, you'll need to win some races, defeat some rivals, and recover the stolen parts of your legendary bike. Although there are actually a whole lot of different ways you can customize your ride, and a lot of them do look pretty legendary already. I mean, whom amongst us hasn't dreamed of cycling along on a giant hot dog? If you're looking for a new roguelite to roll the dice on in 2025, consider Lost in Random: The Eternal Die. Set in a gothic fantasy world with serious Tim Burton vibes, this game is all about thinking on your feet and going with the flow. New twists, challenges, and rewards are constantly appearing at random in this ever-changing realm, so your only choice is to embrace the chaos and hope that your luck holds out. In true roguelite fashion, Lost in Random: The Eternal Die gives you the chance to unlock new weapons and buffs each time you die, so you might just find your odds improving as you play. The developers of The Artful Escape have been tinkering around in the studio, and they've come up with a game that sounds pretty sweet to me. Mixtape is about three friends who are spending the final night of high school hanging out together, just them and their perfectly curated mixtape. Pretty soon, the music starts drawing each of them back into a dreamlike recreation of their key memories together, giving the player the chance to see the experiences that shaped them. Its emotional, narrative-driven approach makes Mixtape a must for Life is Strange fans, and it comes with a soundtrack stuffed with absolute classics from the likes of Iggy Pop, Smashing Pumpkins, and Joy Division too. Replace is a 2.5D action platformer starring an artificial mind that's been trapped in a human body, and it's all not too happy about it. Which, like, I get, to be fair, like, these things are kind of rubbish. Although you will be putting yours to good use thanks to the game's mixture of fluid, free-flowing combat and acrobatic platforming. Between the charmingly retro pixel art visuals and the retro futuristic world you'll be fighting and flipping through, everything you do in Replace looks incredibly cool too. Something wicked this way comes next year in the shape of the stealth action deck builder Sleight of Hand. You'll be playing as a retired occult detective who comes back for one last job, taking down her old coven. Naturally, you've got a whole bunch of witchy powers to put to use, which is where the deck building side of the game comes into play, with different cards allowing you to teleport, set up traps, and hex your enemies in all sorts of handy ways. It all looks pretty cool. I mean, so cool in fact that I'm calling it right here, right now. Sleight of Hand is going to be the best card-based stealth game about a crime-solving former witch that releases in 2025. Another spellbinding third-person game that's on its way in 2025 is South of Midnight. This one has more of a southern gothic flavor to it, and you're playing as a character named Hazel who has been tasked with using her magical powers to heal broken bonds and soothe tortured spirits. Unfortunately for Hazel, some of these tortured spirits reside inside very big, very dangerous creatures. Still, it makes for some pretty epic boss fights, and South of Midnight's stylish setting and magical combat has us counting down the hours until it gets here. Guys, never forget there's plenty more fish in the sea, especially in Subnautica 2, huh? In fact, there's not only a whole new sea to explore, but a whole new oceanic alien planet. You play as a pioneer exploring this dangerous new world for the first time, exploring each of its lush biomes from colorful coral fields to towering underwater cliffs and terrifying depths. Of course, you're not just here to do some sightseeing, you've got life forms to study, secrets to uncover, and oh so much crafting to do. And if you're worried about feeling out of your depth, don't! The new Subnautica game actually lets players team up for the very first time and play together in online co-op up to 3 players. Yay! We all wonder from time to time about what alternate versions of ourselves might have existed had we made slightly different choices in life, but most of us don't have to wrangle those alternative selves in a desperate bid to help them escape from an extremely hostile alien planet. Most of us. That situation is pretty much specific to this guy and the alters. This mind-bending new sci-fi puzzler will put your puzzle skills and your people skills to the test as you create new iterations of yourself and try to get along with them. If all goes well, you'll keep your base running smoothly, avoid the killer rays coming off of the sun, and find a way home. You can check it out now, see what you're in store for with the free demo. Humanity isn't doing so hot in Towerborn, but they've still got hope, each other, and a lovely big windmill. This 2.5D actioner has you and your friends fighting for the future of humankind, venturing out from the safety of the tower to go vanquish some bad guys. There are loads of cool weapons to wield and bits of gear to collect, as well as some adorable spirit companions called Umbras, who can lend you some additional firepower in a lot of fun ways. You're also able to adjust the danger level on the fly, which will be super great for bringing in new players in a more relaxed way and then upping the ante as your skills improve. Towerborn also promises an evolving world with new areas, enemies, and abilities added seasonally post-launch, so don't expect to run out of monsters to slay anytime soon. Winterborough is a game that is guaranteed to make you feel as snug as a bug in a rug. Or maybe that should be a mouse in a house. This cozy survival game has you playing as a young mouse who returns to their childhood home to find that the old place has seen better days. So it's time for you to roll up your tiny little sleeves and get to work, braving the wilderness to scavenge resources, building up your home, and forging relationships with the locals. It's all just incredibly wholesome, and gamers looking for a nice laid-back game to balance out all the high-octane action on the way in 2025 should definitely check out Winterborough. Wuchang Fallen Feathers is a Souls-like action RPG that takes place in a fantastical version of the Ming Dynasty. You know, the one with all the vases. You'll have no time for pottery, however, since a mysterious monster-spawning plague has spread across the land. To take them down, you'll need to hone your skills and augment your weapons along the way, steadily developing your own unique fighting style and strategy. Wu Chang also features a branching story with multiple possible endings based on the choices that you make. So try not to ruffle too many feathers, eh? It should go without saying that we'll be covering all of these games throughout 2025, plus all the other ones that crop up. What we'll say is that you should definitely subscribe and ring that bell to make sure you hear all about it when we do. Bye!
This video was brought to you by Fortnite Ballistic. What's that? An all-new first-person shooter experience within Fortnite? Yes, Fortnite Ballistic was launched in early access on December 11th and is a brand new 5v5 tactical mode that brings a fresh, adrenaline-filled twist to the game. In Ballistic, strategy and teamwork are key as you switch between attacking and defending roles in this round-based experience. Attackers aim to plant a rift point device which must be protected until it detonates, while defenders do everything they can to stop them. With no respawns, every round is a high-stakes fight for survival, and if your team gets wiped out, then that round is over. Ballistic also introduces flex gadgets, unique tools that can turn the tide of battle from proximity mines to bubble shields. Dive into this new Fortnite experience and test your skills in both ranked and unranked matches in this thrilling new way to play Fortnite. Whether you're playing casually with friends or pushing yourself in ranked, Ballistic offers a thrilling new way to experience Fortnite.